All right, let's try it again. So five, I guess, not necessarily reasons, but five characteristics or key components that is probably undermining your success in a huge way. So, with all the businesses that I've worked with over the last little while, probably worked with, hello, see you later. Probably worked with, over the years, probably a couple of thousand different contractors. There's definitely been some major key points in success that I've seen through the business and industry, people that are unsuccessful that's through the business and industry world and sales industry. There's definitely been some key characteristics. So I've talked a lot about mentality, but these are probably the five biggest things that is undermining your success. First one is the excuses. We all love to make excuses. That's what we do. So I would really, and I guess this comes to pre-frame all this. As you start to develop your, personal development, business development, as you start to develop that mindset towards business, you will definitely feel as if you're not progressing very fast, and you actually probably get more pissed off with yourself, because as you grow personally, you start to respond to yourself, or you start to pick up on yourself, noticing things, those sort of things. So you definitely notice a bit of a change, and it will probably feel like you're getting worse before it gets better. Understand that adaptation of new skills or new knowledge or new, attitude adjustment that you want to have with that, you'll definitely find that it will feel like you're going backwards before you want to go forward. So first of all is the excuses you make for yourself. I would try and cut out all the excuses. So obviously blame, deny, justify. You want to live above that blame, deny, justify, rather than it's someone else's fault, or it's because of this, or I had the wrong market conditions, or I didn't have enough research into the product. I didn't have the right product for the market. I didn't have, all these sort of ducks lined up before you wanted to become successful. This, as entrepreneurs and as I guess startup business people, you will probably find that you will be the most resourceful when your business is as lean as possible. I've set up different businesses before, and we're just about to set up another one, and we're starting literally from zero. And I like that, because I know that there is no other option but to make it successful. And when you have, let's say, a couple $100,000 behind you, or you have millions and millions of dollars behind you, well, you can afford to take those risks. But when you start from zero, which I think most people do, obviously unless you get an inheritance from someone else, I feel that you will get the best, leanest business practices out there. I'm not saying it's going to be the most, it's probably the most efficient as well. So remove all the excuses that you have from yourself as fast as possible. And when you do catch yourself having an excuse, because of this, or because of that, or but it wasn't really my fault. Catch yourself, adjust, and go, you know what? Well, who's else fault? Because I think that if you blame other people for your mistakes or failures, then you should blame other people for your success as well. You can't have it both ways. The next one is constant focus. Too many people these days, they try something for 2 weeks, which leads to the next one, which is all about time. So these ones are together. They try something out, it doesn't work, they change something else. And I understand readjusting it and moving sort of, readjustment is probably the best way to explain it. Readjusting things and changing things and adapting things. I get that. That's part of business and that's part of innovation. 100% I agree. The problem is with that is that don't necessarily change the goal, change maybe the time frame, change the way you get to that goal, whatever, don't necessarily change the goal. So if you set out to achieve something, it's your responsibility and your obligation that you do everything you can to achieve that, whatever that is, doesn't really matter. Okay, so constant focus. You got to build your stamina up. When we're doing, the other day, we're doing sprint training. So we're doing, obviously for 100 meter sprints. But we're doing these little exercises where we're sprinting 30 meters, then 40 meters. Then we did 300 sprints. Then we're sprinting, so it's like, but why would you need to run 300 meters when all you need to run is a sprint of 100? Because you're trying to build up your stamina. Why do boxers run, 5, 10, 15 Ks when they actually don't run around the ring? They bounce around or they skip or whatever. So they're trying to build up that stamina. They're trying to build up that fitness. Why do in the UFC, why would they fight for such a long period of time in training when really the maximum fight they're going to be is only 15 minutes? But why would they train for 2-3 hours? They're trying to build up that stamina. Business is exactly the same. So you've got to build up that stamina. And the other thing about constant focus is stop looking around to other people. Okay, stop looking around, what's that guy doing? What's my competitor doing? I understand it's important to know what your competitors do, but for the most part, the energy you're spending on watching your competitors become successful is probably a better resource if you actually put into your own company, into your own business, or to your own workplace, or something like that. The next one is time. You have to spend time growing your business, developing those skills, developing the confidence behind those skills. You know, to become a master takes 10,000 hours, that's what they say. So 10,000 hours of repetition. You know, Bruce Lee says, don't fear the man that can, you know, do 1,000 kicks. I'm obviously paraphrasing. Fear the man that does one kick 1,000 times. It's a repetition. That's where the stamina comes from. That's where the skills come from. You know, repetition's a mother of all skills. So time, it's going to take time to put it together. And the biggest thing that I find with new business owners is they're going to look for that overnight success. You know, WD-40 basically stands for water displacement 40th attempt. So they actually failed 39 times before water displacement. KFC, another massive one. I think he went to 960 or 1,000 restaurants for his secret recipe, and then bang, 65 years old, you know, he created KFC. There's so many. Angry Birds nearly went bankrupt 8 times, then became the overnight success and launched the app and exploded. You know, Sir James Dyson made 5,126 vacuum cleaners. Well, at some point, you know, for Sir James Dyson, at what point do you give up work on your goal to revolutionise the vacuum industry? Now, for most of us, it's not, we wouldn't really care, but for him it's a massive passion. That's what his vision was, to obviously revolutionise the vacuum industry. So 5,126 prototypes. At what point do you think he removed all the excuses? At what point do you think that he had constant focus and built that stamina up and actually never quit on his goal? Even at how many thousands of attempts would you do in business or in, you know, in the workplace, or trying to go for that promotion or trying to launch that product? How many shots or attempts would you take before you give up on your target? 5,126. There must have been something between the 2 to 3 to the 4 to maybe even the 5,000th that you might go, you know what? Maybe vacuum cleaners is not really for me. But he didn't give up on that, and obviously wildly successful. I think he spends about $300 million a year on research and development. So the last two, consistency is key. You can't expect to do something great once and then that's it, or, you know, achieve greatness just because you did it once. It doesn't. You gotta be consistent day in, day out. You know, you can't just, let's say if you're trying to coach someone in sales, you don't just put 3 days together and then 2 days you take off. You know, if you look at swimmer, what's his name? Oh my God, I'll come back to that one. But you can't go for the Olympics and miss out like 1 day a week. Do you mean, oh, it's only 1 day? Well, that's now 20% of your week. Okay, so if you're an athlete trying to go for the Olympics and you've got 4 years to get to the Olympics and you miss out on 20%, Steve, how are you, buddy? And you miss out on 20% of your diet, miss out on 20% of your exercise and you know, exercise regime and those things, do you think you're going to be making the Olympics? Probably not. Constant pressure, constant focus, over time, and being consistent every single day. I call there's different stages of, I think, business. That hyper stage is that, you know, you're giving 100%, you're working 18 hours a day, 20 hours a day. That is what I call a hyper state. I think you need to learn how to get to that stage, but I think it's an unsustainable stage that you can't be at that stage for 5, 10, 15 years. Maybe 6 months, 9 months you can be in that level. 6 months, I'd say, for anything less than 4 hours sleep, you could probably last about 6 months, and then you probably crash a little bit. So it's going to be unsustainable. I encourage you to increase that 100%. I encourage you to lift what was then 100% is now 50%. Yeah. The last one is commitment. Commit until the task is complete. Not if it got hard, not if someone said, hey, what are you doing? This doesn't seem right. Not if the market shifts. Yeah, if market shifts in different industries, well, some people succeed and find new ways around that obstacle. Government comes in, changes things. You have to, do you either fall down to that scene or do you become successful? It's entirely up to yourself. So you've got to have that commitment towards a goal, whatever the goal is. So in recap, stop making excuses for yourself, for other people, whatever it happens to be. Have continuous and constant focus on the outcome-orientated goal rather than time served, or I should be here by now, or what's my competitor doing. Time, it's gonna take time. Put in the work now. 5 or 10 years later, you'll be much, much better off. Consistency, every day, have your rituals, whatever you need to do. And find things that work for you. I don't have breakfast in the morning, but that works for me. Some people need to have breakfast in the morning. If you need to have breakfast in the morning, have breakfast in the morning. That's your ritual. Some people like to, Tony Robbins, we do when we went through UPW, did a lot of priming. Some people love to do their priming and set their goals and focus on. For some people that works, for some people it doesn't. Find what works, there's enough resources out there, find that what works for you, and that's what you need to stick to, okay? Last one is be committed to the end. Not when things get hard, that's when a true test of character comes out. That's kind of, for me, when things get really difficult, that's when the universe is testing me. You want this goal, you want to be successful, cool. How bad do you want it? How resilient can you be? How much perseverance do you have? How much discipline do you have? You know what I mean? You got to be committed to the end. So 5 things that I've noticed over the last probably couple of thousand businesses that I've worked with and different sales contractors. 5 main key areas that I've definitely known people that actually, cheating themselves out of the success they deserve. That's step number 8 for us. That's the value number 8. Hope you have an amazing week. If you do want any more information on this, or shoot me a link, shoot me a text or an email, julian@spartanelink.com.au. Love to hear from you. Have an amazing week and great success. Let's go. See ya.